If your gears are skipping, grinding, and making a lot of noise, and no amount of barrel adjusting is fixing it, it's quite possible that you've bent your derailleur hanger. But don't worry, because those things are fixable with something like this, and I'm going to show you how to use it. Your derailleur is designed to work perfectly with your cassette at the back. So if this is not in the right place, it's not going to move the chain onto the correct sprocket. So you might get some poor shifting, or you might get a lot of noise. Now this often happens when we've banged the derailleur and we may have bent the mech hanger. And this is quite common because the mech hanger is designed to fail. It's meant to bang and take those hits so that you don't damage this expensive part here or an expensive frame. So they're meant to fail, and they do. Now you can replace these parts, but you can also straighten them with something like this. I'm using the Park Tours DAG3. However, most hanger alignment gauges will do the same thing, and they'll work in very much the same way. Now what we need to do is effectively attach this to our mech hanger, and then we use it like an extended arm to exaggerate the movement or the bends in the hanger and work out which part is bent, and then we can bend it back into shape. So it's as simple as that. And let me take you through it right now. So I generally start off with my chain in the smallest cog at the back, just to relieve a bit of tension on the chain because we're about to take the derailleur off. So I'll also release the clutch if you've got one, and generally we'll go in with a 5mm if that's what your derailleur takes, and just lefty-loosey the derailleur from this piece of metal at the back. So no matter which tool you're using, you should have an end that bolts directly into the mech hanger. So if we find the thread and start screwing that in to the mech hanger itself. And it needs to be kind of firm, but you don't need to be really aggressive with it. So now that you have your derailleur alignment gauge directly mounted into the hanger, it's now flush, which means it's going to perfectly mirror that hanger. And this arm here is effectively an extension as that, just to exaggerate those movements. So if the hanger is bent out this way, we'll see that it comes away, and if it's bent inwards, we'll see it's bent inwards effectively. Now what you need to do is find a second point of reference to measure that against, and the wheel is actually a really good second point. So I always use the valve just because I can use the same point. Now, if your wheel is bent at all, then it won't be a very good second reference. You want that reference to be the same constantly all the way around. So I always use the same point on my rim, and you want to get your arm close to that rim, and this other arm here, this little pin, whatever you have, needs to be very close to the rim. And this section is going to move up and down in order to meet that section in the rim. So currently I've just fixed it into place, and it's about 2 or 3mm away from that second point, my second reference on the rim. Now, if it was perfectly straight, effectively I should be able to move it all the way around, and it should be the same distance away from that point. But as you can see, I can fit my finger through there. There's about 10, maybe 15mm of difference between there and here. So we know that the mech hanger is already out. Now what I do is I tend to check all 4 corners or 4 points. So you might want a 9 o'clock check and a 12 o'clock check, 6 o'clock down here. That's really close there, you can hear it scratching. And also we can move this out the way and slide it all the way around to a 3 o'clock as well. And that looks to be about 10mm out as well. Now this is quite common actually, to have the mech hanger away from the rim at the top and a bit close at the other points, because if you imagine hitting a derailleur, then that's going to bend it this way. And then of course the arm is going to come away at the top. So it's quite likely that I've hit my derailleur at some stage and bent the mech down at the bottom, making it close down here and making it far away up here. So at this point, you just need to decide whether you want to push it or pull it in order to get it straight. Now, because the derailleur alignment gauge has kind of highlighted the biggest difference at the top here, then this is a section that I want to fix first. And because it's moved away from my second point of reference, then I effectively want to move it back towards the rim or the wheel in order to get that straight again. So I'm literally just going to move this out of the way and give it a good old squeeze. And you can use the wheel a little bit here, but do it a tiny bit at a time and keep moving your pin back to the rim to see how you've done. So it needs a bit more, a little bit of a bend. And as you can see, I'm getting a bit closer, but it needs a bit more brute force, I think. And see if that has worked. Yeah, we're about 5 mil out, so maybe another go. And that should hopefully do it. Yeah. So I'm pretty bang on the rim here. I might have gone a little too far, but all I need to do is maybe readjust this O-ring and move it around and check all the other points of reference. So actually I'm bang on the rim there, bang on the rim at the top, and actually bang on the rim at the bottom there. So if we're bang on over here at the 3 o'clock, which we are, then that is perfectly straight again. So yeah, I think if you haven't fixed yours now by as quickly as I have, then you might just need to keep tweaking it here and there. And this arm is designed to move up and down so that you can effectively find that point quite easily, because bear in mind, your hanger isn't in the center of the wheel, so it's not going to be on the same plane as your wheel. But effectively now all you need to do is just keep problem solving until you think it's straight. So I'm really happy with that. That pin matches up to pretty much all of my 4 corners and my 4 points of reference. So I'm going to assume that this mech hanger is now straight. So if yours isn't, you just need to do a little bit more manipulating as you go around until you're happy with it. But it's as simple as that. All you need to do now is take that out and put your derailleur back in and check to see if your gears are working again. All I will say is if you've been playing around with the barrel adjuster or any of the limit screws before doing this, then you might need to do that again as well. But let's get the derailleur back on and see how it goes. So now it's just a case of getting that derailleur on, making sure that the knuckle hits that little arm of the mech hanger there. You might need to feel it kind of knock down, and then that should be in the right place. And all you need to do is get your chain back on there, like so, and put your clutch back on and check your gears, and hopefully that would have solved all the problems for you. So if you've tried this method before, then let me know down in the comments below how it went. Me personally, I do like to get a replacement when this happens, because sometimes the mech hanger, once it's been bent, it might be a little bit soft and a little easy or a little too easy to bend in the future. So if you've got the money, then get yourself a replacement now and keep this new straight one as your spare. But for now, thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon.